The legend, that is James Dean Bradfield from the Manic Street Preachers. You've got new music out, haven't you?
Yes, we just put out a little taster from our new album, The Ultra Vivid Lament, and it's called Orwellian.
It sounds amazing. Obviously, I've had a sneaky peek at it. We're going to play it very soon. But before we talk about the song and the album, what we can expect from that, I'm really interested to find out how this last year has affected the way that you guys work, together as a team.
Well, I mean, kind of, we've all got kids, so, we've all had the experience of having to do some homeschooling and stuff like that, which is interesting, to say the least.
I bet.
Myself and Nick were exchanging ideas. Nick was sending a lyric in the post sometimes, or sometimes we'd have a surreptitious meeting where you'd leave a lyric under a rock somewhere when he went for a walk, and I would pick the lyric up in a plastic bag, and I'd take a moment and write music to them, because obviously we weren't meeting for a long time. So a lot of some of the songs were written before lockdown, 2 of the songs at least. But then most of the album was written during lockdown.
Tell me more about the name, and there's a huge meaning behind this song, which I'm really fascinated in, actually. Firstly, the name, Orwellian, what does it mean?
Well, it's about kind of, Orwell wrote lots about the concepts of words and how words are kind of misused and misconstrued when they come armed in the arena of politics. And it's about the misappropriation of words. It's about the lack of nuance in today's news cycle and political arenas, and it's about how the use of words and the use of concepts have become a battleground.
And I have to say, Generation Terrorists was one of the albums that I grew up with, especially Motorcycle Emptiness, which is one of my favourite songs. But when you look back at your career, James, are there any standout moments that you think, that was a really good time, that was a good time for the Manics?
Well, you mentioned Motorcycle Emptiness there, and that was a good time, because I think that was the first time that we heard something back in the studio that matched the ambition that was in our head. And obviously we had a massive help from the producer, Steve Brown. He kept pushing us and kept telling us what the song needed.
I think most people, especially here in Wales, just see you as sort of a representation of Wales. I've got friends all over the UK, and when I talk music and Welsh music, more often than not, your band is the first one to pop up. People just feel that feeling with your music. What's that make you feel like?
It's really strange, isn't it? Because, whilst, ourselves, the Phonics, Furries, other bands, whilst we've had national success, it's still, whenever we're out there, it feels like we're representing Wales. And I like that.
The Manic Street Preachers, how did it all start?
Well, myself and Sean are cousins, kind of virtually brothers, might as well be, because myself and Sean have lived with each other since we were about 10. Myself and Nick known each other from school since the age of 4. And Nick, I think, once told me that he looked around the room to find the shyest person and decided to make friends with them. Richey used to play football with Nick, because they lived closer to each other. And Richey was in the same year as Sean, and they were both in the Weapon and the Bunnymen. So all these factors come together. We're kind of 4 people that are obsessed with music. That's the thing that links us all together. Me and Nick decided that we want to write songs with each other. Nick come into my house for the first ever time, because when we were about 15, he came to my house for a Saturday afternoon rehearsal, and then Sean came downstairs and just looked at us and got 2 plastic tubs and started banging on them. So he was in the band. That literally is how it happened. There's no me trying to write a film script. And so I was just like, at the end of it, I was like, oh, sorry about that. And Nick was like, no, that's really cool, I think. And after a while, I think Nick said, it's not right as a 3-piece, all the best bands, except for perhaps the Jam, or Husker Du, all the best bands are a 4-piece. We need one other member. And it was his idea to get Richey in the band, because he said, oh, he's a good-looking boy. He's at the Killing Joke, Echo and the Bunnymen and the Smiths. And that's it. The A-Team was born.
Now, you've got a lot coming up. The album, you've obviously teased us with the new single, but you've got the album coming out. Is it September?
Yeah, it's coming up September the 3rd, I believe, I think. The one thing that's become obvious during all this is, I can look at the past and try and make sense of it. You're forced to live in the present because of the restrictions that have been put upon us, but I find it hard to look at the future. So whilst I know that we've got concerts booked in September and October, we're still in that uncertain period where you're hoping it's going to happen rather than saying it's going to happen. But I'll make a go of it. We are going on tour in September and October, and we will be doing a tour. So I've tempted fate by saying that.
Hey, listen, James, it's been so nice catching up with you. I wish you all the best with everything in the future. I really hope the tour can go ahead, you know, the live dates, and, you know, good luck with the album. But I really want to play this single now. But will you introduce it for us?
Yes, I certainly will. Been nice talking to you, Lee. Anyway, this is Orwellian from Manic Street Preachers.